I'm Julie Herman of Jaybird Quilts and Lazy Girl Designs, and welcome back to the Jumbo Lazy Angle Basics series. We're currently working on the Rhapsody quilt. The Rhapsody quilt contains a number of different units, as shown on page 2 of your pattern, and today we're going to focus on this one, which is the Lazy Angle unit. Let's get started on our cutting for our Lazy Angle unit. What I'm showing you begins on page 3 of your pattern. So we need to start with cutting our A shapes. And we want right A's, and we want to use one layer of fabric. So we are going to take our fabric and open it up. So you're using one layer at a time. We're going to take our Jumbo Lazy Angle ruler, and the first thing we need to do is square off our edge if it's not already square. Mine is already cut square, but if yours isn't, please go ahead, cut your selvage off. Now, we're going to rotate that fabric around 180 degrees. And we're going to line up our 7.5 inch marks, since we're working with a 7.5 inch strip, around our shape. Our A shape is our bigger shape. That's what we're working on right now. Later on, we'll be working on our B shape. But for now, we want our larger A shape. You can see that here. So 7.5 solid line all the way around my piece. And if you are using a Sew Tights mat, it's a good time to take out your booster magnets. Helps hold everything in place so nothing slips around. And trim. Slide these out of the way. And to cut our next one, we simply take our ruler, rotate it around 180 degrees, line it up. Again with the 7.5 inch lines, and trim. And we'll repeat this with your strips until you get the number of A pieces you need. Now that we have our A pieces cut, it's time to move on to page 4 and cut our B pieces. For this project, we're doing a 2-step block, and we want right and left B's. And what that means is mirror images. So the best way to cut those is to keep our fabric folded the way that it was on the bolt, wrong sides together, square up this edge, and begin cutting. Each cut of ours is going to yield a pair of B's, right and a left. So we're going to take our ruler and line up our solid straight B line. This is the same line for all sizes. And then our solid line down here, which is for 7.5. Get that lined up and trim. And each cut yields a right and a left. I like to separate them and keep them in piles so I don't get things mixed up. Now we're going to take our ruler and we're going to flip it to the back, and we're going to line up our 7.5 inch lines here. There is one 7.5 that you can see right side up from this side, but you should not be able to read Jumbo Lazy Angle, and trim. And you're going to repeat this down the length of the strips until you get enough right and left B pieces. Now that we have everything cut, it's time to begin sewing. And we're going to go from here to here. And how may you ask? Pretty simple. This is a Lazy Angle 2-step block, and if you haven't watched the other videos in the sew along, they may be helpful, but I'll show you everything you need for this quilt here as well. So we're going to begin with A and B. We're going to place them right sides together, sew our scant 1/4 inch. And then once we have this block, we're going to go ahead and use our Jumbo Lazy Angle ruler to recut it into this. This is a left A. Then we're going to go ahead and take our left B, right sides together, piece that, and then we'll have this block. Simple as that. So let's get started. First step is piecing the right A and right B together. We're going to place those right sides together. And we're going to sew from valley to valley. Here at the top, this is what that looks like. And here at the bottom, we're going to have this little bow tie. Now I am a minimalist pinner, which means I only pin when I feel like I absolutely need to. So I don't pin yet at this phase. If pinning helps you, go for it. Make sure that you have that valley up there and that you have the bow tie down here. And we're going to go ahead and sew our same scant 1/4 inch that we've been using for this project so far. And if you find it helpful, if things feel like they're moving, go ahead, grab a stiletto. Now that I have this sewn, It's time to go ahead and press it. I like to press my seams open. I find that it leaves the least bulk in my finished quilt and makes sewing on the next piece and my future pieces easier. So I go ahead and finger press it open first, and then I'm going to use my heat resistant stiletto. It has a silicone end near my iron so I don't get my finger too close. No need to burn yourself. A quick reminder, pressing is up and down. This is ironing. We iron clothes, we press quilt blocks. Don't want to go ahead and drag your iron. It can distort things and mess things up, and this is a bias seam. So good practice is pressing and not ironing. Flip it to the front, and there we go. Now we need to go ahead and cut this into a left A so that we'll be able to add our left B. So this is what we have, and this is what we want to end up with. Since we have a left shape, we want to be working from the wrong side of our fabric. Right side up gives us right shapes, wrong side up gives us left shapes. Follow your diagram in the middle of page 5 for what I'm doing now. You want to make sure that you have your block in the correct orientation because you could rotate it anyway for an endless number of two-step blocks, as I've talked about in some of the other videos. This is the orientation we want, as shown in the middle of page 5. And I'm going to take my ruler and line up my 7.5-inch lines. And my double check to myself is this seam. So this seam should line up with these dashed lines here that are my seam allowance. So right on top here and there, and if that lines up, I know I'm in good shape. So I'm going to double check everything and grab some of my Sew Tights magnets. So that nothing slides. And I'm going to trim this into a left A. Now that I have my left A, I can go ahead and add my left B. So similar to how we did this one, right sides together. Going to leave that valley up there, and that valley should be exactly your same scant 1/4 inch in. And then here our bow tie is going to look a little bit different this time because we don't have that sharp point from our A. But that's what it's going to look like. You're going to have just tiny little bow tie this time, and the corner of this piece is going to line up on top of the fabric from pressing it open from the pink piece. And with our left pieces, we begin sewing from here. So you just want to make sure that you have your little bow tie and that this piece is lining up with the piece from your seam allowance. And if this is new to you and you're unsure, I suggest doing a sample block so that you can get comfortable with the pieces before you cut into the fabric for your main quilt. Now that I have that sewn, it's time to go ahead and press it. And again, I recommend pressing your seam open. It can help to start by finger pressing. Make sure that you're pressing and not ironing. It can help to press from the front and the back. And when I am not recording, I do like to press with steam. It can fog up the camera, so I don't use that when I'm recording, but I do like steam. If you like steam, you can go ahead and do that. So there we go. I have started to make my lazy units. So follow the directions through page 5 to make as many lazy units as needed. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like it, share your comments with us, and subscribe to the channel. If you've not yet signed up for the Sew Along emails, you can do so at the link posted in the caption below. I will be back here in the next video to show you how to make the companion blocks that work with the lazy angle block.